You're listening to The Jake Asman Show on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Jake Asman.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Just when I started to believe the Yankees were back, the Yankees had turned their season around, they gave you an effort last night at home against the Orioles. That was a disgrace. They lost 7-1 to the Orioles. They didn't have a hit with runners in scoring position. There were being no hit through 5 innings against a pitcher that was 2-12 and had an ERA in the 6s. I mean, this was awful. Andrew Heaney made his debut for the Yankees. They got him on a trade with the Angels at the deadline, and he just gave up another home run as I'm talking. I mean, he was brutal. So, the Yankees, who have been playing pretty good baseball, they swept the Marlins. They took 2 out of 3 from the Rays. So they responded well after a disastrous road trip that began in Boston where they lost 3 out of 4 and blew 2 huge leads in that series. Then they go out there at the deadline. They get you Anthony Rizzo, left-handed bat who single-handedly helped them win 3 games in Miami. You get Joey Gallo, who's a plus defender, gets on base, left-handed hitter. And you come home last night and you lose to the Orioles. Just terrible. Yankees better win the next 2. And it's not going to be easy because today, you lose last night, you give the ball to Gerrit Cole. You're like, all right, well, we got our ace on the mound. Well, not so fast. This was Aaron Boone after the game last night. When asked a question about Gerrit Cole needing to have a big start today for the Yankees to be able to bounce back.
Gerrit will not be pitching tomorrow. He's actually tested positive for COVID. So he will not be pitching tomorrow.
And is anyone else on the team affected, or is he the only positive?
As of now, he is the only one.
I am fully expecting a full-on outbreak. I mean, that's how the season has gone for the Yankees, right? They're playing well before the All-Star break. Judge, COVID, out for 10 games. Urshela, COVID, out for 10 games. Now Cole. You lost Loizaga, their best reliever. Some of the Yankee meltdowns don't happen if they have Loizaga. Like, they don't lose that game to the Astros before the All-Star break where they're up 5 runs in the 9th if Loizaga's available. It's been a snake-bitten season. And despite all that, they're 3 out of a wild card spot. So I'm not going to sit here and say the season's over or anything. The Yankees made moves because they think they could still be a playoff team. And if you have Gerrit Cole that could pitch in the wild card game, you have a chance. But man, it just feels like every time the Yankees are going to turn the corner, something like last night happens where they're lifeless in a loss at home to the Orioles. Andrew Heaney giving up 4 home runs. Just brutal. All you need to know about how bad last night was for the Yankees was that the moment for every fan at the game was when a cat ran onto the field. And for 3+ minutes, the Yankee Stadium security had no chance of stopping this cat. I mean, they had Swiss cheese defense trying to bring down this cat. This cat ran circles around them, literally. Here was Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill on the Yes broadcast giving you the call of the cat on the field.
Uh-oh. Where to go?
I don't know. Where did I get out here? Huh? I think that cat is going to be exhausted. Ouch.
Just open the door. What are they doing? Oh, my goodness. Two times, the cat was right near the bullpen door, and they kept the door closed. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense, Michael. Okay, you're right.
I love his incredulity about the cat wrangling skill.
So I edited it down like a 4 or 5 minute clip to just to get just some of that. This was ridiculous. The game stopped for 3.5 minutes while the Yankee Stadium security's running around the field, and this cat can't get caught. And that was the highlight of the game. You heard it. You heard in the clip there. Fans are chanting, "Let's go, cat! Let's go, cat!" And then MVP, MVP. The Yankees gave you a 1 run last night, a sac fly by Joey Gallo. That was it. Awful loss. They got to win the next 2, and now they got to do it without Gerrit Cole, who I hope he's okay. I hope he only has to miss maybe 1 or 2 starts, but they need this guy to, pitch like Gerrit Cole. Like, what are we doing? It's brutal. They're still a couple weeks away from Severino coming back and Kluber coming back, and obviously they're still in the mix for a wild card, but I mentioned this to my friends because I didn't have a radio show to mention it on when I was on vacation after the Yankees made the deadline moves with Rizzo and Gallo. The Yankees were starting a 13-game stretch where they played the Marlins for 3, the Orioles for 3, the Mariners for 3, and then the Royals for 3. 3, 6, 9. Yeah. 12. One of them was a 4-game series, whatever. All teams that the Yankees are better than, that they should beat. And in Seattle's case, they're tied with the Mariners 3 games out of the second wildcard spot. I think the Yankees are a better team than Seattle. They got to win these series. So after you lose the first game to the Orioles, now you got to win the next 2. And you're pitching Nestor Cortez tonight, who's not built up necessarily as a starter. So he's probably only going to be able to give you, 4 or 5 innings? Here would be a simple solution, though, for the Yankees. Score runs. You're playing the Orioles. You couldn't touch a pitcher last night that had an ERA that was 6-something. That was 2-12. Today, they're facing a guy that has a 5.28 ERA in Alexander Wells. Score runs. The Orioles stink. Maybe the Yankees needed to be reminded of that. I mean, they were lifeless. And I got to get on a guy that, I love. I said over the last couple of years, when I have a child, I'll name him DJ. DJ LeMahieu's been terrible this season. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like, it was a mistake for the Yankees to re-sign him, because you're a fool if you have that take now. There's not a single fan on the planet that roots for the Yankees. It's like, yeah, we should let the guy that's been the MVP of our team the last 2 years walk in free agency. But you know why the Yankees have had a ton of issues this year scoring runs? Because the guy that was the best in baseball the last 2 years with runners in scoring position has been terrible this year. DJ LeMahieu last night was 0 for 5, and he left 7 runners on base. From 2019 to 2020, DJ LeMahieu hit 384 with runners in scoring position. 384, that was by far the best in the league. He was the Yankees' best player. This year, DJ LeMahieu's hitting under 250 with runners on base, runners in scoring position. He's been a double play machine, and he's not fast. So when he hits the ball on the ground, it's a double play every time there's a runner on first base. He's got to pick it up. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's hurt and the Yankees haven't said anything and he's playing through it. It's inexplicable how a guy who, I kid you not, has been the Yankees' best player the last 2 years. And honestly, if you take what DJ did in 19 and 20 and compare the last 2 years he had to any other player in the sport, he's right up there with anyone as far as how good he's been. And I don't think he just lost it. I know he's 33 years old. He's not a spring chicken, but he's not old. I think it's fair to move DJ LeMahieu down in the lineup. Bat Anthony Rizzo first. It worked the other day against the Marlins. He has great numbers as a leadoff hitter. Right now, DJ's not hitting. And I love the guy. He's been an amazing player, but this year he's been bad. DJ LeMahieu's hitting 265. It's August 3rd. They got to do something to try and kickstart this offense. I don't know. I'm guessing he's hurt. I know he was dealing with a triceps injury that kept him out of some games, but he just doesn't look right. And he's the Yankees' best player, and they need him to hit, or he had been their best player. So that was just a terrible loss last night. Awful, awful loss. And then, if Gerrit Cole getting hurt wasn't enough, now Gio Urshela is going on the injured list. He's got a hamstring issue. So they'll backdate that IL stint, but he's still going to miss some time. That's why I laughed, by the way, when there were so many Yankee fans after they made the move for Rizzo and Gallo, and it was like, well, what are we going to do with all our play? What happens to Luke Voit? Someone always gets hurt. That's what happens, right? Luke Voigt's now going to come back, and there'll be a spot for him. Why? Because DJ's not going to play, or Urshela's out. They'll put Odor at third. You find a spot for him. They'll move Torres around. They'll move, Gallo around in the outfield. They'll move Stanton around. There's always going to be a spot for these guys. These things always end up working out. There's always a solution to we have too many good players. What do we do? Someone always gets hurt. It happens all the time.
I remember I have a Yankee fan friend who it was the off season that Harper and Machado were available, and he was like, "Well, where are we going to put them? Where are we going to put them?" And I was like, "You make it work." And then 2019 season, as he knows, everyone on the Yankees got hurt, and they still won the division.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It really is. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say, the Yankees are done. They can't make the playoffs. Gun to my head, I do think they'll get in as one of the wild card teams. I just think they're better than the teams they're competing with. But you can't lose to the Orioles. Like, you have to sweep them. You swept the Marlins. Good job. You should sweep the Marlins. Now you got to win the next 2 against Baltimore. Like, I said going into this stretch, this 13-game stretch where the Yankees are playing teams they're all better than, they got to go 10-3. Like, minimum 10-3. You lost one of the games last night. Now win the next 2 and keep moving. That's what they got to do.
Those big wireless companies try to lure you in with a new phone just to lock you into a contract. Not simple